I believe you. I believe you. I believe that it was horrible. And you used an interesting word, terrifying. You said that the experience was terrifying. And I believe you, and I'm sure it was for a lot of people. I'm sure it was very stressful. I'm sure there were a lot of late nights and early mornings and not much sleep in between. And as you get tired, you get stressed, and as you get stressed, you make mistakes. Naturally, we have problems focusing when some of the subjects are not interesting or useless. That's a good word to use because if you will probably not use the information, you can describe it as useless. And this idea that you have to learn it because you don't know if you will need it is completely insane because you can apply that rule to anything. You can say you have to learn Hebrew because you don't know you might need it. You have to learn how to fly a helicopter because you don't know you might need it. Um, Obviously, some things are more practical than other things. I suggest these would be uh, how an electrical circuit works. So if there's a problem with the lights in your house, you can do something, or maybe how to repair clothes, or uh, something which affects people's life on an everyday basis. I don't know how to use a GPS system or something like that would be practical. Um, so so this idea that you you don't know best, but we know more than you about you, which they don't because they don't actually know you. Uh, is not really the best way to design anything. You know, because you could say that read this book because there might be something in it you never know. Okay, thanks a lot. Right? Um, yeah, anything that you don't have a personal interest in is boring, basically. Yeah. Here, watch this badminton match between two people you don't know. First of all, badminton's not really that interesting. And secondly, I don't know the people. And why? Well, you never know. You might learn something. No, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Uh, pick the interesting thing, tell me, and we can move on to something else. Right? Yeah. You want to tell me about this poem? This person wrote it at this time. This is this is the key part. Thank you very much. It takes 30 seconds, and then we can move on to the next thing. And we don't have to spend hours or weeks studying the structure of something which might interest us a little bit later in life. Or, yeah, classically, there are those people in the class who like poetry and those people in the class who like to beat the shit out of each other. Right? There are those people in the class who are happy to sit down and do nothing, and those people in the class who just want to run around all the time. And for some of these people, it will be interesting, but definitely not for everybody. Yeah, and we don't, once again, we don't treat adults that way. We don't say to adult people, right, everybody, you have to watch this, or you have to read this newspaper, or you have to wear these kind of socks, or something like that, right? Uh, Variety and choice and um, then there are ways to make this subject interesting. For example, if you like sport and you want a pathway into literature, first of all, you have the biographies of all the sports people. You can read them and learn something about their lives. Um, and secondly, you do find people who have been great sports people and have written poetry as well. Um, Eric Cantona, for example, was a footballer for the French national team, and he also wrote some books of poetry. So yeah, that would be a sensible place to start. I'm not saying it's great poetry, but the fact that he was able to mix these two things together is very interesting. Yeah, 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 absolutely. And each life has something to give, and there's something that we can learn from everybody, even the people we don't like. We can still learn something from them because they don't do everything wrong. Yeah. I have still to meet somebody in my life who does everything wrong. That doesn't really exist. People get some things wrong, but not everything. Um, Although there are those tests in school that. Anyway, um, so surviving a week of tests, passing the tests, getting through that to the other side is always sort of feels like a miracle when you get to the end. I Yeah, I remember my final exams at high school when I was 17, and I don't actually remember the exams because it was so stressful that you forget the stressful parts. It's you're so stressed that you don't even remember it after you do it. Um, and I remember the period or the days after the exams when I still had to go to school for some reason I don't understand. Um, you've passed the tests, but we can't let you be alone. And I sat outside a group of students and just didn't know what to do, basically. Didn't know. I remember sitting outside thinking, what now? What now? It's sort of nothing to do now. I've passed the tests and sat there waiting for killing time, waiting for the bus to take us home. I remember it. Strange thing to remember.